Maria Reyes was 8 months pregnant, holding a teacup in her Aunt Christine's garden, when her mother Linda tapped a wine glass and stood to say something the family deserved to know.
Everyone, I have waited too long. You all know David, but not the whole story. This family deserves the truth. David, you are not Maria's real father. In 1993, I had an affair with your father, Richard. Maria is his. She always has been.
The teacup slipped from Maria's fingers and shattered against the flagstone, amber tea bleeding across the linen like a wound.
This is a lie. It has to be. She is lying right now in front of everyone.
What the hell are you talking about? That is insane.
The garden fell into a silence as thick as fog. Not a guest breathed, not a chair scraped. Then Christine pushed through the back door. A manila envelope was tight in her grip. Christine had been waiting years for her sister to spin this story, and she had brought the evidence to end it.
That's a very dramatic story, Linda. But I have DNA results that say otherwise.
You're just a jealous old woman, Christine. Nobody's going to believe your fake papers.
If that envelope holds the truth, then open it. I'm not going to stand here while you two play games.
Please, stop. Not here. This was supposed to be about my baby, not a courtroom drama.
Linda, you have 5 seconds to decide. We go inside now, or every guest here hears exactly what the lab found.
Linda's breath hitched. She stared at the envelope as if it were a live grenade. The silence stretched until a guest coughed.
Fine, we'll go. But you're making a fool of yourself, Christine, not me.
Take this key. The study. You'll want to hear what she says when she thinks no one else is listening.
She planned for this. Aunt Christine planned for this moment years ago.
Christine led Linda into the house, past the abandoned wrapping paper and the half-eaten petit fours, while the guests exchanged horrified glances. Inside the wood-paneled study, Christine set the envelope on the desk between them, like a verdict waiting to be read. Linda lunged for the envelope, but Christine pulled it back before her fingers could close.
You always wanted to destroy me, ever since I got the bigger bedroom and the better husband.
Christine didn't flinch. She let the silence answer first, the envelope heavy in her hand.
I have the DNA profiles, Linda. Cheek swabs from your recycling, Richard's coffee cup. Legitimate chain of custody.
The side door whispered open. Maria stepped inside, the key still warm in her palm, and froze.
She has actual DNA evidence. My mother's whole story is about to collapse under science.
You don't understand. I needed that story. Without it, I was just another divorced mother who couldn't hold it together.
You needed an audience, but Maria's real father has been waiting in the garden while you performed. Admit it now, or I open this in front of everyone.
Linda gripped the bookshelf until her knuckles turned bone white. She offered no answer.
Christine, open the door. My father just arrived and he heard everything. This is getting out of control.
Richard Reyes stormed into the garden, his tie undone, his face dark with fury, and demanded to know who had spoken his name.
Please, not in front of everyone. Aunt Christine, we can't make my baby shower a public execution.
I tried giving her a private way out, Maria. She refused. The garden is where this ends.
Christine pushed open the study door, led Linda into the silent garden, and every guest stopped mid-sentence to watch. Linda walked like a woman being marched to her own confession, her floral dress crumpled, her wine glass long forgotten. Richard crossed the lawn and blocked Linda's path, his fists clenched, his breath ragged with barely contained outrage.
Richard, you'll get your answer. The whole party will hear it right now.
My mother looks cornered. For the first time in my life, I think she might actually be afraid.
The envelope hung in Christine's hand like a guillotine blade, and the garden held its breath. Richard stepped forward, his voice raw and dangerous, and demanded Linda explain herself.
The timing, it was complicated. There were many factors.
Around them, guests leaned in, their whispered judgments like wasps around a broken cake.
I don't have to prove anything to any of you. This is my life, my truth.
David placed himself between Maria and her mother, but his wife's hand on his arm asked him not to intervene. The guests' uneasy shuffling said what no one dared voice. Linda was losing them.
She planted that envelope to ruin me. Ask her what's really in there.
Richard's jaw tightened. He looked at his son, then back at Linda, and the disgust in his eyes was unmistakable.
Maybe I was confused about the year, but Richard, there was something.
Christine lifted the envelope a fraction higher, waiting for the words she had demanded, but Linda only shook her head.
David, come here. You need to hear my side before Christine poisons your mind.
Don't touch me. You accused my father of something unforgivable. There is no side.
Mom, just tell me the truth. Was it all a lie?
It was so long ago, Maria. Memories blur. I truly believed.
A guest behind them murmured that she was leaving. The party had become a public dissection.
Maria, you asked for the truth. In 2 minutes, this envelope will speak for me if Linda does not.
She has never been this cornered. I've never seen her this close to breaking.
The 2-minute warning landed like a slap. Linda's lips moved, but no words came.
2 minutes, Linda. Then every person here knows exactly what the lab found.
Maria felt the baby shift, low and urgent, as if sensing the storm outside the protective wall of her belly.
Give me that envelope. You have no right to ruin me in front of my own family at my daughter's shower.
You already did that yourself, Linda. Step back before I let everyone here see exactly what you are.
Richard lunged forward, but David caught his arm. His shout for the truth echoed through the stunned garden.
Not here. I can't let my baby's first story be a public brawl. I need to see it first, alone with my aunt.
Without waiting for anyone's permission, Maria hooked her arm through Christine's and turned toward the house.
My mother tried to snatch it. She's guilty, and she knows it.
Maria, wait! You shouldn't be alone with all this stress?
We'll be back in 5 minutes, David. The truth doesn't change whether it's read indoors or out. Linda, I suggest you think about what you want to say.
Linda stood frozen, her outstretched hand still clawing the empty air where the envelope had been. The study door closed with a soft click, sealing Maria and Christine inside while the garden held its shattered breath. In the quiet of the study, Christine slid a single page from the envelope and held it under the desk lamp. The DNA comparison result for alleged father Richard Reyes. Probability of paternity, 0%.
0%. My mother fabricated an affair that never happened.
I had her DNA from a wine glass she left at my house. Richard's from a coffee cup at the barbecue. The lab ran it twice.
Maria's legs failed her. She sank into the leather chair, the lab report trembling in her grip.
Then who is my real father? If Richard isn't, and David's mother wasn't, someone else had to be.
I know who he is, Maria. I've known for years, but I promised myself I wouldn't name him until Linda admitted the lie out loud.
She knows. Aunt Christine has known the whole time.
Your real father is a good man, Maria. He was always there waiting. Linda erased him. Give me until after she retracts. Then I'll take you to him.
Maria clutched the 0% result to her chest, the paper crinkling against her dress, and nodded.
Why would she build an entire life around a lie? What did she gain?
She gained center stage. Linda needed to be the tragic heroine of a love story. The truth was too ordinary for her.
Maria's earliest memories surfaced. A quiet man reading her a bedtime story, Linda's voice on the phone telling him she'd call the police if he ever came near the house again.
He never stopped fighting for you, Maria. He sent letters, birthdays, school plays. Linda returned every single one unopened.
You're talking about my father, the one she told me was worthless and gone.
Your real father. The one who has been sitting on that bench all afternoon, waiting for you to be ready.
Maria pressed the lab report against her bump as if it were a talisman, shielding her daughter from the wreckage of her own childhood.
I won't say his name until she admits it. But you already know.
How do I look him in the eye after believing her for 27 years?
Christine squeezed Maria's hand and opened the study door. The garden was waiting.
Let's end this, Aunt Christine. I'm ready.
One final chance. If she still refuses, I read the result and name your father.
Maria handed over the lab report, and Christine slid it back into the manila envelope with a crisp, final motion.
I'll speak first. If she even hesitates, I won't. You have my word.
Then tell them all. I'm done protecting her.
They walked side by side through the narrow hallway, past the kitchen where the tea had long gone cold. The murmur of restless guests leaked through the back door, a tide waiting to turn.
He is out there. My real father. The man she erased.
Christine pressed her palm against the door, and the garden was suddenly bright and silent, and waiting. 20 people turned to face the truth.
Linda, one sentence. Tell them you lied, or I open this to the last line.
It wasn't true. I made it up. I needed to be important.
A single collective gasp, then the garden erupted into frantic whispering. Richard's voice cut through the noise, demanding an apology, but his son held him back.
She admitted it. The whole thing was a performance.
Linda stood with her arms limp at her sides, looking like a puppet with cut strings.
The envelope says 0%, but I think we all just heard the real result.
The guests stared at Linda as if she had grown a second head, their sympathy fossilized into contempt. Maria clutched her bump, breathing slowly, the truth finally settling into her bones. Christine tucked the envelope under her arm and looked toward the bench under the oak. One by one, the guests gathered their purses and half-eaten cake, fleeing the garden as though the air itself had soured.
Before you disappear, Linda, you owe Maria a second confession.
Linda's red-rimmed eyes flashed defiance even as her body sagged against the back trellis.
I already told them I lied. What more do you want from me?
His name. The man who sent birthday cards you returned unopened for 27 years. Say it now, or I do.
Linda's shoulders dropped. A nod, barely perceptible. Then Christine turned and caught Maria's eye across the lawn. Maria followed her aunt's gaze across the scattered party debris toward the bench under the old oak.
It's him. The man from my earliest memories. He's been here the whole time.
David squeezed her hand, grounding her, but his own expression was unreadable. Christine began walking toward the bench, gesturing for Maria to follow. Christine stopped at the edge of the lawn where the clipped grass gave way to the wild path. She pointed, silent, toward the dark wood of the bench.
My father, the man from my earliest memories. He's real.
His name is Michael Vance. He was Linda's first husband, the man who held you when you were born and cried because you had his mother's eyes. He raised you for 4 years, until she divorced him. After that, she told him he'd never see you again. Every petition he filed, she buried in court fees.
That's why she always called him absent. She built the wall and I believed her.
He never missed a birthday. Every card, every letter came back unopened. He read about your shower in the church bulletin and couldn't stay away.
Michael's shoulders were tight, his hands folded on his knees, watching the child he'd been forced to love from a distance.
He's been waiting for this moment for 27 years, Maria. Go to him.
I can't move. The space between us is a wall made of every lie she ever told me.
Maria stood frozen, the baby pressing against her ribs. The weight of 2 names, father and grandfather, hanging in the golden air. David stepped in front of her, gently, blocking the sight of the bench so the only face she saw was his.
Whatever you decide, I'm right here. The baby and we're not going anywhere.
The warning whispers of her childhood surfaced, Linda telling her Michael was useless, absent, a man who never fought.
Every word she told you about him was reversed, Maria. He never abandoned you. He was blocked at every turn.
I don't know him. He's a stranger, but he's my stranger and my daughter's grandfather.
David pressed his lips to her forehead, grounding her in a single breath of shared strength.
You walked through the fire in there. This is just a few more steps.
Maria exhaled, a sound that was half prayer, and placed one foot in front of the other onto the gravel path. The bench drew closer with each crunch of gravel, and the man on it rose slowly to his feet. Christine and David stayed back, letting the space between father and daughter shrink into something sacred. They stopped 3 steps apart, gray in his hair visible, 27 years still between them.
I know nothing I say can fix this. I couldn't miss this too.
Why didn't you come? I waited years for a father who never showed up.
I came, Maria. Every birthday, every school play. She called the police twice. I have the letters.
He pulled a worn envelope from his jacket, the paper thin and yellowed, bearing her name in faded ink.
This was for your 16th. I wrote it 100 times in my head, but she sent it back unopened.
He kept a birthday letter for 11 years. All this time, he was trying.
A tear tracked down Michael's cheek, but he didn't wipe it away.
I don't know if I can forgive 27 years, but I want to hear everything.
Her hand trembled as she took the envelope, his handwriting blurring through tears. Maria lowered herself onto the bench, the old envelope resting like a fragile bird in her lap.
When are you due? I read about the shower, but not the details.
8 months next week, a girl. We're naming her Eleanor after David's grandmother.
A granddaughter. I've missed so much. I can't believe I'm hearing this.
As if in response, the baby shifted, a robust kick that printed a small foot against the pink fabric.
David knew I needed to do this alone. He's waiting back there, giving us space.
Then he's a better man than I ever got the chance to be for you.
I don't know about that, but I'd like you to meet him properly when the dust settles.
The afternoon light softened, and Maria realized she had crossed a threshold she never expected to reach.
I'd like that. And Eleanor. If you'll allow it, I'd like to know her.
You can know her, Dad. She kicks hard enough to prove she's already fighting to be here.
As if summoned, the baby delivered a powerful kick, a tiny foot distending the fabric of the dress.
Here, put your hand right there. She's saying hello.
Michael's hand, lined and uncertain, hovered for a heartbeat before Maria guided it firmly onto the swell. Then the baby kicked again, a precise, insistent pressure that met his palm with unmistakable presence. Michael's composure shattered. A sob escaped him, raw and sacred, as he felt his grandchild move.
This is what I was protecting all along. Not a lie, but this.
They sat without words, 3 generations connected by a single brave kick under the old oak.
I've waited my whole life for this. Thank you.
Maria closed her eyes, letting the weight of his palm replace the weight of every lie she'd ever believed. The garden had nearly emptied. Only David remained at a distant table, and Christine, a silent sentinel in the doorway.
I know I have no right to ask, but could I be part of her life? Or yours?
I can't pretend the last 27 years didn't happen. But yes, I want you to know her.
She told him about a snow globe he'd given her when she was 3, the only gift Linda hadn't thrown away.
I found it in a box last year. I cried because I didn't know why I still had it.
I gave you that for your 4th birthday. I remember your face when you shook it.
The fragments of truth, scattered across decades, began to fit into a picture she finally recognized.
I wrote you every year on that day, even when I knew you'd never read them.
I want to read them. All of them.
David rose from his chair, walking slowly toward the bench, giving them one more minute before joining the quiet circle. David reached the bench just as the baby kicked again, a visible ripple, and his hand gravitated to Maria's shoulder.
I'm glad you came, sir. I heard a lot of stories today, but the real one is finally sitting here.
It took 30 years to get to this bench. Thank you for letting me stay.
He didn't abandon me, David. She blocked every card, every letter, every phone call.
Maria passed the worn envelope to David, and he saw the return to sender stamp, the faded ink, the 30-year history in a single piece of paper.
Then our daughter is lucky. She'll have a grandfather who never stopped fighting for her mother.
The baby answered with her own tiny rebellion, a flutter that made Maria laugh through her tears. David placed his hand beside Michael's, and for a long moment, the three of them formed an unspoken covenant. The sun dipped lower, gilding the edges of the baby girl banner, and the garden settled into a peace it hadn't held all afternoon. No one spoke. Words had run out. Only the quiet weight of truth remained. In the distance, Linda sat alone at a table, her face buried in her hands, invisible to everyone but the fading sun. Richard was already gone, his car door heard closing minutes ago, a final punctuation mark on the lie. Christine moved through the garden, gently guiding the last shocked guests toward the gate with murmured thanks and no explanations. The garden settled into an almost sacred quiet, broken only by the distant trill of a bluebird and the soft rustle of oak leaves. Fairy lights strung along the trellis flickered to life, casting their first delicate glow across the darkening lawn. One last kick, a soft flutter, a signature, and then Eleanor stilled, as if satisfied the world had righted itself. The sky above Pasadena bled into stripes of violet and rose, the first star pricking through the velvet. A breeze stirred the oak leaves, and a single balloon, loosed from its string, drifted upward into the peaceful dark. Below it, on the bench, 3 generations sat in silence, watching the day end together. Maria's hand rested over Michael's, her wedding ring catching the last light, and for the first time all day her smile held no fracture. It takes an uncommon courage to accept a truth that rewrites your whole history. David lifted his phone, framing the impossible: a father, a daughter, a granddaughter yet to be born. The lens found Michael's weathered hand, Maria's wedding band, the swell where Eleanor lay. The shutter clicked, freezing a first family portrait, 3 generations, one impossible afternoon. Maria looked up, her smile steady now, no longer working to hold. Michael's hand stayed there a long time, feeling the baby's quiet sleep. The fairy lights cast their gentle net, the only witnesses to a pact sealed in silence. The photo would be printed, framed, a new beginning in a single image. And under the old oak, in the garden that had seen a lie undone, 3 people became what they had always meant to be. The bench held them, the oak shielded them, and the night folded around them, gentle at last. The garden held no more secrets, only the quiet hum of the fairy lights and the steady breath of people who had survived the unthinkable. Maria leaned her head against Michael's shoulder, a gesture so simple it broke open every year of silence between them. David watched them, his own hand resting lightly on Maria's back, a quiet guardian of this fragile new chapter. Then, a small miracle, a flutter, a tiny heel pushed outward, and Eleanor reminded them all why they were here. The baby's kick was a gentle manifesto: I am here, I am loved, and I belong to all of you. The night deepened, the stars sharpened, and the earlier chaos felt like a distant, already fading echo. What began as a public unmasking had become a private redemption, sealed not with speeches, but with silence and skin. Linda's story was dead, but Michael's, Maria's, Eleanor's had just begun. Some truths don't break you. They reassemble you, piece by piece, into something more whole than the lie ever allowed. And in the gentle dark, the baby kicked once more, as if to say, I know.